Ta-da! Right. So, hello and welcome to the very first TUT, the Unorthodox Trainer podcast with me, Vince, and
Will Mapley.
Nice.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Exciting.
Good. So we're going to just ramble on. Pilot episode. Be kind. Just be kind. Don't be that people. So, first of all, I suppose we need to kind of go why we've decided to do this. We don't have to, but we're going to.
I think we should. I think that's going to be
I mean, the fact that you've decided to watch us means that you're our captive audience. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess the reason for the name was because something that me and Will have come up a lot, and this will go into one of our first questions that's come from one of our members / clients of ours, is that we don't look like what people would perceive as trainers, and we've both actually had people say to us,
Many times. Many times.
You know, so for me it was like, you don't look like a personal trainer. And what's the one that normally comes out for you?
Exactly the same, really.
Same line.
In terms of muscles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and because I'm not ripped in any way, shape or form, you always get that little look up and down, like, you don't look like a trainer. I'm like, I mean, I am, so...
I remember being in
fun of it.
I remember being in a session and actually being in a personal training session, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you actually like training this person?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
no,
I am genuinely
just hovering around in a uniform for the fun of it."
And I'm like, "Oh, this is a little bit savage." Good job, it was like one of my nice clients, Kev. And he was alright about it and he was laughing about it. But imagine if that was someone like...
Why would you do it?
I know.
Why?
It's,
what on earth? It's like, would you go up to a person building a house and go, Are you actually laying bricks?
Yeah.
Like, you don't look like a brick. Like, what?
It's tarnished, isn't it? I think that's the thing. I think you'll find that there's a lot of people that do tarnish the industry by having massive muscles and, you know, being this look that people maybe want to strive for.
I definitely think that's part of it. Like, social media has skewed the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is as well that I think people only assume personal trainers do one job.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's get people lean, and it's like, yeah, to a degree, that is what we do. But if you're looking for like health in the whole, like, it's a little bit more multifaceted than just being lean.
Yeah.
So I suppose, I mean, obviously Will is a running coach, a very good one at that, actually. But you deal with all sorts of stuff. You don't, just because you specialise in running per se, doesn't mean that's all you do. Like, for me, female strength is one thing. I deal with mental health. I do injury and recovery. So it's like the areas that I'm in don't necessarily require me to be super lean. But then I never promote myself as a physique coach.
Exactly.
I can't be doing with that kind of work. I mean, it sounds silly, but dealing with mental health is easier than dealing with physique coaching. It really is. I'd rather somebody have a full-blown meltdown on me than go, I want to get super lean. Yeah. No, you don't. You don't. I don't want you to get super lean. I'm not training you for that.
No, and I think that's another big reason why we are doing this is the fact that we aren't necessarily that orthodox trainer that people think. You know, obviously the industry is massive in terms of body fat reduction and losing weight and toning up and stuff like that. And that's a massive, massive part of our industry. But also, I think there are a smaller amount of people like us that are very specific in what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important to be specific in what you want to do because that's what you're passionate about. And, you know, there's lots of trainers and especially, you know, I can say in myself actually that I love my job. I love helping people, but helping people lose weight and that kind of thing isn't what I'm passionate about. And I think I sometimes look back at what I've done in my week and kind of think, okay, well, it was good. I've helped this person. I've done this. I've done that. But this isn't what I'm passionate about. And I didn't feel like I maybe gave it my everything because I wasn't passionate about it.
Yeah, sure.
Do you feel that way sometimes? Or?
Yeah, in the beginning it was really like that. Because obviously when you first start and you're just thrust out onto the gym floor, aren't you? It's like, haha, here's how people get big, here's how people get small, don't kill anyone, take the money up front, go build a business. Oh shit, here's a gym. I think also the biggest part on that is body transformations are the easiest thing to sell on social media.
Absolutely.
Like, who doesn't look at a poster of somebody who used to be big and then gets to be small and then go, oh, fucking hell, yeah, that guy must know his thing. It's like, you know, you get somebody who's never ran a day in their life to complete their first, like, 1K. And that's massive. But how do you can't bottle that emotion, can you? That's the hardest thing. It's like with me doing the strength coaching side of things for women. Like, I've taken women who were the most sheepish, timid, mousy type people. They are lions now. Like, their bosses don't know what to do with them.
Karen is a perfect example.
Yeah, perfect example. Diane, Lauren, all of them, you know, in their own way. Every female I've trained, like they go from not believing in themselves to believing in themselves. But it's like, how the fuck do you put that on a poster or on a social media post? And you can't, because they're also dealing with delicate subjects, and the reason, like, with mental health is always delicate. You're not going to sit there and plaster someone's story across. You know, this person was suffering from a mental breakdown and I cured them. Like, fucking hell. It sounds like a JML advert. It really does. Like, in my head, like, trying to market that, it sounds like one of those when you see him in the morning and there's someone having, like, the worst time ever trying to wash a dish. And, like, nobody is ever going to find it that difficult. And they're like, what you need is the JML Wonder Sponge. Cleans your dishes for you, like something out of the 1950s. That's what I feel like trying to advertise, helping people with mental health. Like, are you crazy? Then don't be crazy. Come and train with Vince. It's like, oh, I couldn't do it. It's just
awful. That'd be a cool advertising, mate. I think that little one just like boring, just lifting like really like
someone's there rocking in the corner, and all of a sudden I come over and just offer them a hand. Hi, you need to train with me. Like, good God.
Do it, please do.
Yeah, take this tablet and become confident. It's like something out of Greece, isn't it? Jesus.
Please do that. But it is, you know what, that you put it on the header, not that on the header a second ago, you know, sometimes, everyone, or quite a few people say is, you know, to get your social media going, you know, put before and after pictures on, put this and that on there. But it's not necessarily maybe what you're going for. It's not necessarily, some people don't like, I have so many clients that if I
don't want you to put them on.
Exactly.
Yeah, half the time, half your clients are like, no. Like, exactly. Don't put me on social media. You're like, okay.
Portfolio.
To maybe smaller down. Can I just have a picture? That sounds weird. Shit. Can I just have a picture of you in your underwear?
Exactly. It's a difficult one, because some people do like that kind of thing, and I know obviously we've got a question for that in a minute, and we'll be answering. But some people do like it, and especially younger generation, you'll probably see on the internet or on social media that the people that like their pictures being done before they're before and after are of my generation, maybe a little bit older. 22 to 30 is probably going to be your perfect kind of people that like that kind of thing. Would you agree with it, or would you say it's more?
I think it's what you buy into. I don't necessarily think it's age appropriate or whatever, age dependent is the word. It's more, if you're going to buy in to a transformation package, it's kind of expected that you do before and after. Yeah. So if you're a transformation specialising gym, there are some brilliant gyms out there that pump out some incredible transformations, but that's all they do, and they do it very well. I wouldn't be allowed to work there. I'm not on enough body fat percentage, but
it's crazy.
It's one of those things.
Crazy.
So you have that, but that's the buy-in, isn't it? You go in with that mentality that I'm going to have to take a before picture and an after picture. It's going to be the marketing. I think when you skirt around it, and you can be working with somebody for a while, and then they decide that they really want to take weight loss seriously, it's very difficult then to turn around and go, can we have a current or before picture? Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, because a lot of people aren't happy with how they look, and sometimes it's just a horrible reminder for them. As much as it's motivational in the end, in the beginning, it can be quite that's what I look like. Yeah. And I think men, as I say, that's why I've sort of learned more about it and started to specialise in it. Mental health is a huge part of being a trainer, because you are someone's therapist. Like, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's the joke I put out, like, especially with sports massage, you're a sports massage therapist as well. If somebody trusts you enough to run your hands over their basically naked bodies, you're going to get told a lot. Like, there's not many barriers left. If someone's going to lay there in their underwear and trust you to dig out an injury, give them a full body massage, you're going to learn about a lot.
Absolutely.
So And the more you do that, I think the more you've got to want to be immersed in it as well. I mean, there are plenty of trainers out there that do a great job, but they just won't deal with it. They don't take that on. They don't want to deal with that type of client, and that's absolutely fine. But I think the problem is those are the people that everybody sees when they think personal trainer.
Yeah.
They think absolutely jacked, ex-bodybuilder, physique model, female competitor, really fit female, which is great as a motivation, can also be quite intimidating. And then if you don't kind of fit that normal model is where that question comes in, like, oh, you don't look like a trainer.
Yeah.
Or you don't, for you, it's like you don't look big enough to be a trainer. Jesus Christ, how big do you have to be? Like, the question that comes with that, and it was a brilliant question that came up on one of the articles I've read once. It was like, are you going to a trainer because you want to learn what they know and use their knowledge, or just because you want to look at them?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we both worked with a guy that did very well out of people wanted to come and just look at him.
We did.
Like, and he was a great trainer as well.
Incredible
trainer really good trainer, but he's a pretty son of a bitch. And God, girls would just pay to look at him. And I mean, you know, you make that pretty money. I suppose you would.
There's no way else to put it, really, is there?
I have personally never made pretty money, but there you go. So yeah, that's a bit about us. You know, we just decided that name came from the fact that we don't look like traditional trainers. Oh, what is a traditional trainer?
Yeah.
But we don't look like the Orthodox trainer that comes in jacked, you know, walks the gym floor, gets people, you know, shredded, boot camp instructor. That's the other one, the old typical boot camp instructor. And everyone goes in, you're not going to be horrible with me. Am I like, no, God, no, I'm not going to shout at you. I mean, later on down the line, I might say, what the fuck is that? After I've taught you how to do it.
Personally.
Yeah, but I mean, some people need it. There have been people that are like, I just need you to be an absolute arsehole to me because I need that. And you're like, okay. Which is still weird to do sometimes. When someone's like needing you to be an absolute bastard to you, you're like, I feel bad. Like, I'm so sorry.
You do that.
Yeah.
What about you personally, though, Vince? Let's dive a little bit quickly into you personally. Obviously, we've spoken about why we want to do this.
Who's a therapist here?
Let's. Let me like that. Come on, let me off. But what kind of stuff do you like doing? What is it that you are personally passionate about in terms of the fitness industry? What kind of things do you want to do to help your clients?
So it's weird because I span over 3 areas. So I do injury, recovery and sports massage. I do mental health, which is, I'm kind of breaking into that because growing up around a lot of it, it's something that I was always subject to. So I understand it probably a little better than somebody who hasn't been subject to it. So when they do come across it themselves, it's very hard for them to just sort of figure out what the hell's going on. And female strength coaching is something I've gotten really passionate about. I've always found myself, it's weird, isn't it? Because you say, like, what are you into? But nobody knows what they're into in the beginning.
Absolutely.
What you're into in the beginning is making some goddamn money.
Absolutely.
Paying your fucking bills is what you're into in the beginning. And I think that's the hardest part of this industry as well, is in the first 2 years, that's all you're doing. Like, you're taking on people that will drop you. I mean, you're at the mercy of everybody to turn up and pay the money until you find people that you resonate with the best. Absolutely. And then you don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, so now I would say the biggest thing is, well, the most, I enjoy the most, the final thing, the most rewarding, I think is the best term, because what you enjoy the most can sometimes not be the most rewarding.
Absolutely.
So for me, I work with people that have MS. I've just taken on another MS client. I'm going to be taking on somebody with cerebral palsy. Cystic fibrosis, not cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. God, they all sound the bloody same. CP, there we go. So helping them get part of their life back is huge, and that's what, you know, physical therapy, personal trainer and stuff can do. But it's tricky because a lot of people won't touch it, which is fair enough. It is fair enough, but
it's a touchy situation.
Yeah, but I think the trouble with rehab is everyone thinks like it's got to be something absolutely magical, and they, you know, because the trouble is, it's what's sexy and what sells. Like you see, ACL rehab, somebody juggling a ball whilst on a half Bosu. You're like, yeah, that wasn't what you first did. What you did in the beginning was get them to walk in a straight line and try and figure out where their footfall placement. A lot of it's just simple stuff and repetitive. But yeah, so that's a big one. And female strength, because there's not so much ego involved in female strength. And that was a big eye-opener at the Amateur World Powerlifting Championships, was that there were, I ended up helping the GB team as like as an on-site therapist as well, because I went out there with Diane,
Yeah.
who absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I was going to say, incredible woman, absolutely incredible woman.
And it was interesting because the women went out there because they wanted to prove something to themselves, that they were strong enough to do it, so they could step on a podium in a singlet, which, I mean, it's really quite raw and intense because, you know, you're in a singlet, you're in a belt in the nicest possible way. And because this is only the feedback I've got, I mean, your bits are being squidged up in places, and it's very unflattering. You're all red-faced and stuff, but you go out there and you just crush it. But if you don't, everyone in the room feels for you. It's unlike any other sport, like where there is a winner and a loser, but there's not, because if you go out there and you attempt to go balls to the wall and lift more than you've ever lifted before and you miss, but you gave it everything you had, everyone's heart breaks for you, and it's quite nice in a weird way to watch everybody just go, oh, God, I'm so close. Like, I really hope you come back and try again. And that's kind of what I want to push forward. But I mean, I'm a dad of 2 girls as well. So if I can, like, if a legacy, well, it's not even that, but my legacy that I think, like, what do I want to be remembered for is for just helping people and empowering women, because that's all I want for my girls, is to feel empowered and have what they can. I know it sounds like proper cheesy and stuff, but that is what it is. You know, I want my girls to never feel that they're not the strongest person in the room, like not in a narcissistic way, but to feel that they can achieve what they want to achieve, and, you know, just always feel like there's somebody behind them. And also, I think sometimes it's important for women that have been put down by guys to be lifted up by a guy as well. And again, it really comes across as like self-appreciating, and it's not the case at all. And and I've had clients have agreed with me. Like, it's easy for it's easy for men to empower men, and it's easy for women to empower women.
Yeah.
Because you have that kindred spirit. But to have somebody of the opposite sex empower you,
it's intimidating, though, isn't it? You know, if you think sometimes you think about the kind of person that maybe might be doing that. It's very intimidating for some women. So you being able to do that and train those people in the way that you do train those people is beautiful, because you're empowering them. You're not, you know, in such an intimidating environment, you are empowering those women to be the best that they can be. And I think that's a really good thing. Good thing.
So that would be my areas and such. I mean, don't get me wrong, like getting my MS client, been working with him for a year, and having him going from not really being able to move to doing walking lunges with my help up and down his living room, moving his legs on his own, being able to, something we all take for granted, like being actually able to raise his arm up enough that he can spray his own deodorant under his arm. Like, he couldn't do that a year ago, and it's just absolutely crazy to see that change, and it all just comes from consistency and stuff. So that's like my biggest takeaway. Like, I've kind of moved away from the shiny stuff. I mean, I was never really into it anyway. Don't get me wrong. If somebody wants to lose weight, I'll tell them how to do it. But I wouldn't want to spend my time on the gym floor with somebody that, if we teach people correctly, and you look at the right social media, like I know you do and I do. There will be some links in the description, little plug there, on the principles of how to lose weight. You can get somebody to get you in the best shape, by all means, like you should follow a trainer, but to lose some weight and feel more comfortable in yourself, it shouldn't be a mystery. So, you know, the content's there, like the tools are there, but it's not, you know, it's just deciphering it. And if you can do that, then it's almost, you don't have to spend as much time deciphering that side of things. And you can come to people and say, like, I don't feel confident in myself. I wanna feel strong. I want to feel like I could take on the world, and you can do that through personal training. Absolutely. But you kind of got to look past it, because everyone comes to you and thinks that if I lose weight, I'll be confident. And you're like, not you necessarily you might, but there's probably something deeper than just your appearance that's causing you to feel that lack of confidence. And I'd rather work on that with you for a year whilst getting you fit and healthy than make the sole purpose about fixing the shell when the bit on the inside isn't quite fixed. Having been there myself, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I have full personal experience in hating what I see in the mirror. I still have meltdowns now. When I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, you are disgusting. But obviously with my girls, I have to hide it now, which has taught me a lot about not, you know, I don't want them to ever feel ashamed of their bodies, but it causes me to address things. Like, you can have that moment where you melt down, but then you can reassess, well, actually, you know what? I'm strong. I do this. I do that. And that's what I want for more people to be able to do. And instead of being like, you know, if I change the shell, I'll be great. Well, you won't, though, because the thing that made you feel so bad about yourself wasn't the shell. That was an end result. because you didn't have the consistency, you didn't know the tools, you were looking after somebody else, you blah, 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 blah. That's how you got where you were. It wasn't because, you're not unconfident because you're fat. You're unconfident because you watched certain things slip away from you that you didn't know how to address. And I think that's more important. So what about you, Matt?
What about me? Well,
I've droned on for long enough.
I would like to be an Olympic weightlifter. What do you reckon?
In your weight class?
Yeah.
To be fair, you say that. You say that,
No,
though. At one stage, you were one of the strongest people in the gym for power to weight ratio because you were double body weight and everything. So it's all good saying you want to be like a champion weightlifter. You had, to be fair, power to weight ratio wise, you had that for a long time. I'm there like, damn, if we put that into some stats, I'm coming out weak right now.
No, I am absolutely passionate about running. Obviously, I've just started again, gone a little bit more down the path that I want to go down. But I want to create an incredible running community down here in the West Sussex. Obviously, I want to become a running coach, but what I want to do is become a link, and I think that's the main thing. There's a lot of separate things that are happening in around where we live. There's lots of different running clubs and stuff, but I want to be that person that we can then bring them together, and we can work together, and I think that's really important for me, is not necessarily about being able to
probably have to turn the microphone on, wouldn't it?
No,
cut that out.
That's all right. So not necessarily, earning lots and lots of money from doing lots of coaching. Of course, I want to be a coach, but what I want to do is create an incredible community. In terms of obviously running, coaching, running. That's my main passion right now. If money comes, but at the end of the day, what I want to try and do is do my passion. Obviously, I ran 3 marathons last year. Created programs from that. Obviously, I tried to do my own programs. Obviously, taking different parts from other programs as well. So it wasn't originally my own. So I tried to pick them and match up with and create my own programs, just so that I can see personally how programs work for myself. And also, to try and help other people. It's not necessarily that valuable for me to go, okay, so I've got a program here. I want to do this program that someone else has created. Here you go, guys. Next time I train you, this is what I want you to do. It's not really very personal from me. It's not very one-to-one or specific to that person. You need to make something very specific. It's exactly like what you do in terms of your training for your clients. It needs to be absolutely bang on specific. If someone wants to run their first marathon or their first 5, 10, half marathon, you don't want to be pushing them specifically with paces and stuff like that. RPE, 100%. Your rate perceived exertion is really important with those kind of people. That's what works for people.
Every run for me is like RPE 9. Jogging down the street, it's a 9. I'm out. I'm not doing it.
But looking at RPE scale for people that have just started, really, really important, really specific. Rather than someone that's maybe done running before, it's really important to maybe look a little bit more into their pacing, look a little bit more into their times, because all that then does is helps them run quicker, run more efficiently. So that's the kind of stuff that I tried to really drive into myself when I created those programs. I did obviously RPE on one of them, and then obviously used my pacing on the second and third one. Obviously, I knocked 10 minutes off my time from doing pacing. So for me, pacing is something that's very specific to me and works for me rather than RPE. Maybe I give myself too little, maybe I give myself too much, whatever. But that's a little bit about me, really. And what I want to try and do is just create the biggest community of people, like-minded runners, that we can, create something that will be untouchable, and I think that's the thing I want to try and do most.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite right with the when you're saying like pace gets important the further down, I think like with everything, and you'll probably agree that everything seems so complicated when you first do it.
Absolutely.
It's like it'd be like me coming to you, well, not even me coming to you because that'd be a smart move, but me going like, I want to run a 5K marathon program. Yeah. That is not going to be set up for somebody who wants to run a 5K, because you're going to be hitting all this pacing and stuff. But you going out, I want you to run that doesn't make you feel like you want to die. Again, for me, that's anything faster than a fast walk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's no different when like RPing works with certain elements of programming, but then after a while you got to look at strength percentages because you can't work unless you've got a set number. So
do you use RPE? Is it? Do you use RPE on that? No.
I mean, I'll ask.
How's it feel? Yeah. I assume you ask how's it feel.
If I'm looking at somebody's 1 rep max, or if I've got them at 95% of the 1 rep max as a test, and I look at them and go, how many do you think you got left in the tank there? If I said like out of a scale of, for me it's less RPE, more. Rate of perceived exertion, more like reps in reserve.
Right, okay.
It's the same thing. Same thing, so an RPE of 8 is the same as an RIR of 2. So if I turn and say, do you think you could have probably pulled another one out? Because I can usually tell by looking at it, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well that means we can move up a little bit.
Yeah.
The trouble is with RPE, and it works in a non-competitive sense, I think. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't, but I mean, RP works well with running because you're still going to get better at running the more running that you do.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you're looking into lifting, you can feel like shit, which means everything feels harder than it should do, but still hit the numbers. But the trouble is, if I'm then turning around and saying to you, I want you to work to an RPE of 8, and you're finding that your warm-ups are an RPE of 8, but you've still got it in you, just feeling a bit lousy because of a cold.
Yeah.
Then there's an issue because it makes it. I mean, on one hand, it's like it means you don't push yourself too hard, but at the same time, it means you could always shy away if you. It's very easy to talk yourself down or up, should I say?
Absolutely.
Whereas if you go, you are going to lift this, and I want to know how you felt about it. Was that easier than normal? Did you feel like it was particularly hard? And then analyze why it felt hard. I think it's easier to do that than say, I want you to work to an RPE of 8 and leave you to it, and then someone go, well, I just feel tired today. So rather than, go, actually, I know I'm tired, but these are my numbers I've got to work to. It might have you felt like a fucking grind today, but you got it done, rather than going, I'm just going to back off here, knowing that you could have done more.
You could easily let yourself off, and you've got to be tough on yourself sometimes. And I think in terms of running, it can be quite effective, especially if you've not really ran before. You're very, very new to running. It's really good. But you can easily let yourself off, and I think that's a massive part of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's really valuable. I definitely, exactly like you've just said, I think it's very, very valuable to use. And something that maybe might be relative to the people that may be listening as well. If you are lifting weights right now and you don't necessarily know where you're going, you're a little bit lost of your direction, I think looking a little bit more into your intensity of your workouts, looking at what you're doing. And if you can say to yourself, truly, you're lifting weights, but you're not necessarily going away and thinking, oh, actually, I can feel that. Or are you actually doing an effective workout that's going to get you to the position that you want to get to? Something nice and simple. Look at your RPE. Think about your rate of perceived exertion. Are you exerting a lot of force when you are in your last few reps? Are you not? Okay, so if you say to yourself, actually, I can get 12 quite comfortably, take up your weight. I think that's maybe a really good way to exert or perceive what you're exerting.
Yeah, sure. So, shall we move on to our questions?
Yes.
We have waffled on.
Yes.
And what I waffled on. Yours was quite concise.
I just like to say stuff.
So the first question we've got is body image. How does it affect, or what are our thoughts on body image? So obviously the whole point, and it was linked in because the person knew what. Obviously, I put a post out saying what the title of the podcast was about and stuff. So body image, I think, is hideously skewed.
Hideous
across the board.
Hideous.
It's nobody's fault and it's everybody's fault. I know that sounds like a really shit wishy-washy answer, but it's not our fault because everybody has hang-ups about their body. And from a psychological behavioural therapy kind of view, the reason we do certain things and accentuate certain areas of ourselves and try and mask other things is because we have a funny body image. Like, cue anybody who... Like, so, an example of both, this isn't being misogynistic. I was a doorman for 9 years, so I see this all the time. But it's no different than having, like, for instance, a female who feels conscious about their midriff, accentuating their chest, and wearing a lot of eye makeup to draw your eye up here, right? So this is where we're looking. We don't want to look down there. It is no different than a guy feeling that his face isn't too good, wearing the tightest top he can find to make his muscles look bigger. You're drawing attention to different places because that's a normal body image. But in regards to fitness, I mean, Photoshop's fucked it.
Yeah.
Royally.
Yeah.
Performance enhancing drugs have fucked it.
Yeah.
Royally.
Yeah.
I personally don't have an issue with PEDs, but at the same time, I'm like, I think people don't really see what they can do to a true extent before they resort to them.
Yeah, I think it's...
Some people will get to the very most they can manage. They've done it for 2 or 3 years. They've tweaked everything and they can't go any further. And they think, you know what, I'm going to go and try a little bit further. Whatever, each their own. I wouldn't personally do it. But I think people are... I think the lack of transparency in the industry at the moment is what's skewing it, because you see these bikini models, you see these guys that look absolutely shredded as fuck, and first of all, you're made to feel like that's normal.
Yeah.
When it's so not normal. Like, nobody walks around completely jacked the entire time without sacrificing a lot of things for it. And 2, they're usually dosed up to the eyeballs on something. Women more so than men, actually, because the women have to diet so down to stay lean.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a whole shit show, really, because when you get to a certain low point, it becomes very hard to maintain certain things. So the performance enhancing drugs basically allow you to stay in that leanest state for longer, which, you know, but they're only doing that because their whole next shoot and them not getting overlooked for somebody else is determined on them looking in a certain way.
Yeah, money.
Yeah, so...
At the end of the day.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, isn't it? But like, body image is fucked. It's so fucked. And I mean, bullying ruins body image. I suffered all of that, you know, from the way through. So that's probably where a lot of my stuff skewed from. You know, you're being bombarded from everywhere. Like, Facebook model looks like this. Instagram influencer looks like this. School kids are saying... I mean, for instance, right, so...
I can't believe it's
I got picked on all the way through school for being overweight and like various and how I dealt with things.
Yeah.
But so we take the overweight thing. Now, I wasn't overweight. I was. So I mean, you know, I'm not going to deny the fact that I was overweight. But it looked worse because where I grew up in Lee Park, it's a deprived area. So all the kids were lean because in the nicest possible way, they weren't particularly eating properly. And half the time, they didn't go home to eat. They were just dumped out the side of the front door. And I mean, like, I mean, it wasn't the whole lot, but there were plenty of kids, and usually the ones that are doing the picking on them, like they, you know. And bullying's a whole thing we'll deal in another episode. But yeah, so it's all about comparisons, isn't it? Because my parents made sure that I always had 3 decent meals a day. And granted, I wasn't as active as I should have been. But then, you know, I'm not built for running. Like, my gait's horrible. I'm much better in the water. I'm better cycling and stuff like that. That's just how I'm naturally built. So when the only thing you can really do is fuck around and run around all day and I'm not doing it, you're going to put on weight. So when everyone else is really lean through almost like borderline neglect, but you're average, I suppose. Like, it's funny because what classed me as being like properly overweight is usually the average for most kids now, which is the scary thing. Like, a lot of kids now are like carrying a little extra than they should do. And that's going to be a question for another podcast, actually, which is probably going to be quite controversial, but stay tuned.
I think that'll be a good one to go
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's how society perceives things, but then that skews you as well. Because I've had people before take things I've said, take things that have been said by other people and think it's directly like attacking them, and it's like, yeah, but well, society believes this. It's like, fuck what society believes. It's like, it's so much down to what you believe, and your own insecurities are projected outwards. So somebody could say something almost like it's completely benign, but for some reason that really played on one of your insecurities. So you think all of a sudden like everyone's getting at you, which ruins your body image even more, and blah blah blah. So
absolutely.
It's like, how do you even answer it though? I mean, I've waffled on for about 5 minutes on it, but I don't know. What do you think? What's your stance on it? Because I can't really come to a concise answer.
Everyone's body type is different, and I suppose you've knocked it on the head where you said, it can depend on obviously lifestyle. It can depend on activity levels, but I think it comes back to, and I'm sure you've spoken to many people. I think it comes back to that confidence. I think it comes back to that mentality, that psychological capacity. I suppose. I think what people perceive themselves as is totally different to what actually it is. And I think people lose lots of weight but still still feel unhappy with their body image. There's people that are slim that I know that are unhappy with their body image. There's people with things like bulimia, anorexia that are unhappy with their body image because of their mentality. And obviously I know it is a genuine illness. I'm not saying it's not a genuine illness, but what I'm saying is, I think in a way it comes back to that mentality of how you perceive yourself. I could tell my girlfriend that she looks beautiful as much as I want, but she's got to believe it in herself.
Right.
And I could tell you that you look good, but you've got to believe it in yourself.
Yeah,
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it is all down to you accepting the kind of ways that you feel. Okay, you don't, or you're not happy with the way that you look, but you're incredibly successful with your job. You've got children that are beautiful or whatever. You've got a house, you've got food, you've got everything. And I suppose it's a little bit more about gratitude as well in terms of, your body image you're not happy with, but there's lots of people around you that love you and think that you're incredible.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Am I
No, it does. No, it does make sense. So bulimia and anorexia are an interesting one because they're more control disorders.
Yeah.
So something that I have found throughout, and I think nobody would really argue with this, is food is the only thing you can control.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Agreed.
And it sounds really stupid, but the only thing you have control of as a human being, you can't control what people think of you. You can't even control your own emotions and what you think half the time. But what you can control is what goes in here, in your mouth, or what comes out of your mouth. So the anorexia and bulimia thing, I completely agree with you that they are
how they perceive themselves.
How they perceive themselves, but a lot of it comes down to feeling like completely out of control in every aspect of their life. So the one thing they will control is exactly what goes in and what comes out and how long it stays there.
Yeah.
But that's, we can go into those. I know there's plenty of subjects and stuff. Very much like the love yourself anti-diet movement, which I think is a fucking crock of shit. And I'm going to say it. I don't care if it's controversial, but you can't love yourself if you're killing your body. I'm sorry, but having been overweight and learning to love myself, it has nothing to do with the size of me now.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a conflicting statement, but you see these people that are going there and going, well, you should just celebrate your body and what it can do, and you should love it anyway, and you shouldn't go on diets because diets don't work. Diets do work. Diets literally work. People don't see the diet through because it's not the diet that works for them.
Yeah.
Because all a diet is a calorie deficit packaged in a different name. That's what it is. Like, if you can take nothing away from this podcast today, it's literally a calorie deficit is what a diet is. The diet is just how you get to the end result and what one works for you. There you go, myth busted, ta-da. But yeah, you get people that, and you see them pop up on radio present. I think one dietitian or doctor, I can't remember what it was, got booted off of a radio show and was never allowed to come back because basically what she said was, this presenter was she was a larger girl and was saying that we should just celebrate what our bodies can do and that they can run and they can breathe and they can walk, and what the woman said was, but they can't do that if you're overweight. And when I use the term overweight, I'm not attacking people that are fat. I'm using rabbit marks here. Being overweight is not healthy. When I say overweight, I mean to the point where it affects your health. Like, I am currently 20% body fat, but I can do everything I want to do and I have no real negative health markers. So in super lean standards, I'm fat, But from a health standard, I'm fine.
Yeah.
What I mean is when you're getting to the point where your general bodily functions aren't doing what they should do because you're carrying so much weight or too little weight, I might add, because it works both ways.
Absolutely.
You are no longer in love with your body because you're effectively killing it. So you can't celebrate what your body can do. Or it's kind of, you're just telling yourself that you are when you're continuously killing off those processes by being overweight. So I think, the trouble is, but because the whole body image is skewed, we're trying to figure out a way of how to love ourselves again. So fuck diets, they're shit.
Yeah.
Anybody who puts you on a diet is a bad person. Anyone who suggests you should go, no, you should stop. It's like, you know what? No, because it's not even about loving yourself at this point. It's about keeping you alive sometimes. In the more grander scale. And the thing is, it's such an extreme, I think that really boils down to quite a lot of extreme self-loathing that it kind of comes full circle. It's like, I've hated myself so much that all I'm going to do is love myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so from the mental health side of things, I love the fact that you've come to that conclusion that you're just going to love yourself and that you're going to be positive and confident. Fantastic, great. And I'm so glad you've turned that corner. But from a physical health specialist, you're killing the shell you're in. It's like having it's like having a car that is your pride and joy and just scuffing it every day.
Yeah.
And then going, but I love my car. I love the fact that it drives. I love the fact that it can do such and such. Well, your tracking's out. Your headlight's been dinged up. You can't love it that much because you're abusing it all the time. It's like, but it's so hard to explain it in the way it doesn't make you sound like a colossal fucking arsehole because this person's gone for a lot, decided they're going to love themselves and be positive. And you're saying, that's great, that little bit's great, but you're basically killing yourself for being this overweight. You need to bring it down a bit. I'm saying love yourself, but love yourself a little bit enough so you can love yourself for long enough that it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I agree.
No.
I do totally agree. I think
it's hard because you want to encourage everybody, but sometimes you're like, something's got to give.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you've just got to listen to the people around you that love you, and I think you've got to realise that they are not saying it to you because they want you to feel better. They're saying it because they genuinely mean it. You know, I think that's the most important part of everything is that you need to remember that they're not saying it because they want you to feel better. They love you for who you are, and you need to accept that. You know. Yeah,
they're not glossing over and they're not trying to blow smoke up your ass. They generally believe what they're saying to you. It's not just like you're having a bad day. Oh, come on, cheer up, mate. You'll be fine. It's like, no, I'm telling you, these are qualities in you that I like, and you should be able to look past it. But at the same time, we want you to stick around long enough that we can keep saying these things to you,
absolutely.
so look after yourself as well. Right, we can dive into that on another point. Let's look at question number 2, which is falling in love with the gym again. I think it's quite apt, isn't it, considering February's coming up and everybody's come to the gym and then thought, fuck it, this is hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they've had a lot of time off in December and you come to January and you're like, oh, I'm going, I want to do it. My personal view, and having come out of a bad spell over December, quite a depressive spiral actually, what I have found, and I think this can be converted into any way, shape or form, is I think the best way to fall back into the gym again, not initially, is going back to the point where you enjoyed it the most. Yeah. What were you doing? And this kind of converts into everything because I did it for my business as well. I was like, what was I doing when I enjoyed being a PT the most? Not maybe when I was the most successful, making the most money, or having the most free time, or getting the best results out of it. But what was I doing when I was enjoying it the most? Which was creating content, making informative videos, putting them out there, answering questions from people, studying stuff. So I reverted back to that. And I think for people as well, when they want to get back into the gym, I was having this conversation with a member today, strangely enough. She goes, I was really enjoying it, and then life got in the way, and I came back, and I was really pissed off that I wasn't where I was. Give yourselves a break. Honest to God, you didn't get to the point where you fell in love with the gym on the first day. Yeah. You were confused, you weren't sure what you were doing, and it wasn't until you took some time and some consistency and you started seeing some results that you really started enjoying it. Life isn't linear. The world will do what it can to stop you making your plans. And I think we get really hard on ourselves because we walk into the gym after having a month off and expect to just pick up everything we went off and then fall in love with it again. Give yourself some time. But, there are other things that are more important than going to the gym every day and keeping fit. On the whole, keeping fit should be a very big priority, but on a day-to-day, sometimes you have blips. And I think you've got to really just be kind to yourself for a little bit and go, you know what, I'm just going to take a couple of weeks, get back into it, go with the flow, take each day as it comes, and then I'll get back into it. Or if you have taken a large stint out, maybe scale it back to go, what was I doing when I was enjoying it the most? I was just turning up every day. Start my day with a decent bit of cardio. I was loving the fact that I could do the cross trainer for 10 minutes. Start with that, even if you did nothing else, just do that cross trainer for 10 minutes. And each day you've done that, you add a little bit else on.
Yeah.
If you're new and you want to fall in love with the gym, same principle applies. Keep showing up.
Agreed.
On very rare occasions, did you fall in love with someone properly on the first sight?
Yeah,
you knew somebody was who you wanted. I mean, I knew my other half was going to be the one I wanted to be with from the moment I saw her, and that sounds really stupid and gooey, but I knew, and I fought for it. But you truly fall in love with somebody after time. When Simon Sinek, who's a really good talker, said the same thing. You fall in love with somebody because they're gonna, turn up and give you a cup of coffee in the morning without asking, because they know that's what you want.
Yeah,
they're going to come in from work, and the first thing they're going to do is give you a hug or take your coat for you, even though you haven't asked. They're going to make sure the kids go and give you a hug in the morning. These little things. So you didn't just fall in love with somebody straight away because you don't know enough.
No.
Yeah, like you can't fall in love with the gym straight away because you don't know enough. You've got to let it grow on you. You've got to understand that the gym is going to be the place where you can vent all your aggression because it doesn't judge. You want to slam a weight down in the appropriate weight slamming area, please. Don't get told off. The iron doesn't care.
No.
You want to work out till you're red in the face and do a little bit of an internal cry, but it looks like you're sweating. Cross trainer doesn't care.
Yeah.
You can find the reason you love it, however way you want. But you have to keep turning up to find out why that is.
Yeah.
You can't do that on the first day. You can't walk into a building full of equipment and go, this is where I want to spend the rest of my days. Nobody does that. Everybody who says they love the gym learn to love the gym. They didn't just wake up and love it, because in the first few weeks, everything fucking hurts. You don't do anything right. You don't know if you're doing anything right. If you do, you're a complete narcissist and need your ego checked a little bit. But you fall out of love with the gym, like I did for a long time. Everything just hurt, and I was like,
this is awful.
Yeah, some programs are designed to test you. Like the thing is with the charity events I did last year, my body was absolutely fucked.
Tell me more about that, mate. Jesus Christ, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean,
relate to that.
You did 3 marathons, and I just decided to just smash my body with as much crap as I could do it. And you pay the benefits. Some days I come in and just everything hurts, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it today. But you keep doing it because you know that those little bad days, they're all part of the process. But in the beginning, you don't see that. So you might have a bad day and think, fuck, I'm not doing this again. And then you get annoyed because you think, I should be in love with this right now, but I'm not. It takes time. Just like when you have an argument with your partner, you're like, fuck that guy or fuck her. She's a pain in the ass. But then you think, all right. Either I was in the wrong, or we need to talk, or I need to blow out my ass and forget about it because it's not actually that important, and go from there. Yeah, but it just takes time. I think the best thing you can do, so if you're returning to the gym, go back to the time when you enjoyed it the most, but obviously stagger that because you're not going to come straight in. And if you're new, give it a chance. Yeah. Just like you would with a relationship, give it a chance.
Absolutely.
Push in, because it is a relationship. Going to the gym becomes a relationship. It becomes part of your daily routine. And I think the other piece of advice I could give you is don't see... So I'm going to break every rule. I'm going to drink a can of Monster. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Oh, caffeination at 8 o'clock in the evening. That's bad, isn't it? I've got work to do. I've lost my train of thought. Fuck!
That's all right. That's okay. I think it's obviously going from what you were saying is it's almost like asking someone to marry you on your first date, isn't it? Really, I'm going to fall in love with you on your first date. It's not necessarily like that. You spend months and months and months talking to that person, meeting that person, going out doing things. It's like Vince has said, it's similar to what you're doing. I wouldn't ask to marry someone on the first date, would you? So why would you expect to be happy and get back into your training on day one? You won't. No. It's not something that will happen.
That's what I was going to say. It's come back.
You found it.
Found it. Don't see the gym, or not the gym, but your workout, this hour and a half that you have, don't see it as an extension of your work day.
That's what, common mistake.
See it as a
burden.
stopgap between finishing one part of your responsibilities and starting the other. So for me, I used to train early in the morning. Can't anymore. Like, I've trained too many early morning clients to just value sleep too much. And I'm old now. My kids have stopped me from sleeping.
Old.
All right. So I used to get up at 6 in the morning, chuck a pre-workout, get to the gym, train from 6:30 to 7:30, get home for 8, get up, and then start dad duties. And then I was dad. So in that early morning thing, I didn't regret getting up because it meant I had an hour and a half to myself where I wasn't dad.
Yeah.
I wasn't partner. I wasn't worker. I was just me, sorting myself out, doing my thing.
Getting yourself ready for the day, isn't it?
Or when you do it after you finished work, you're not continuing your work day. You've left work. Unless you work in a gym, you've effectively left work. And it's on the way home. So you're not extending your work day by going to the gym. You're actually cutting off work. And before you have to go home and deal with the kids and the missus, or just the missus, or just the kids, whatever your situation is, you get a golden hour and a half to just
do what you
hash out your day, gather your thoughts, see some people, talk shop, have a bit of banter, and then you can go home. So I think this is the thing for a lot of people in the beginning. They when are you going to train? Oh, after work. But I just have such a stressful job. Perfect. Come in and blow it out your ass.
Yeah.
But you're better. Come out and blow it out your ass and be a better person when you go home.
Yeah.
Because you can, as I said, you can proper take your stress out on the gym, and then go home and be the best other half, the best dad, because you're not bringing it straight home, and because it's hard to vent when you're at home because you need to section yourself off for a second.
Absolutely.
But the moment you get through the door, there's 1,000 things you've got to do. So it's actually quite hard sometimes to have that hour to yourself. Whereas you go to the gym, you can put your headphones on, shut the world out, do what you got to do. Or in your instance, okay, let's take the weights aside. You want to come in and cycle on the bike or run on the treadmill until all of a sudden you just don't care about life, like all the problems anymore. Do that.
Yeah.
Damn.
God damn. I think in terms of, obviously, I am currently not having this issue. It's not an issue at all because I know that I've got faith in myself, that I know that I can just jump straight back in and I'll love it again because it's what I'm passionate about. But since September, obviously when I did my last marathon, I chilled out. I gave myself a month off just to recover. And I got hit with 2 bouts of tonsillitis that I'm still suffering with now. In terms of obviously my tonsils being a little bit swollen still and stuff. So what I haven't been able to do is get myself training. But the one thing I would say, and the things that I have found is the number one thing that's helped my clients get back into the gym. In a way, I suppose I could say last year when I was planning my sessions, it was something that I did that really helped me.
Yeah.
Was that time, on that day, at that moment, that is when I was going to train. No bullshit. I am going to train in that hour, on that day, and that is the time that I need to go out and do my run.
Right.
That is the time I need to go out or come into here and do my deadlifts or whatever. So mine would normally be let's take Thursday for one of the days. Thursday was my strength day, so I remember when I did my 120, that was obviously when So, I had to come in, obviously I did my shift in the morning, and I would train at 12 o'clock. I knew that there's no bullshit. I didn't need to go home. There was nothing happening at 12 o'clock. I'd never book it in. I needed to make sure that I was 100% there, 100% training at that time. And obviously, like Vince was saying, you build that up. So once a week, you do that. Twice a week, you do that. 3 times a week, you end up building these parts into your days, into your schedules that you are 100% going. And once you do that, you start building up that tolerance, I suppose you could say, to, okay, so it's no longer, okay, right, I need to make sure I'm there. You will be there because you have created that habit. You've created that thing in your head that tells you that you need to train at that time. And I think that's really important. And I think exactly what you've kind of said. You used to train in the morning. You used to do that kind of thing in the morning. And then you go home and you know that you'd had to go out and obviously do your dad duties. But I think that that's a really, really important thing that's really valuable to me and really valuable to a few of my clients that might be good.
I think it's quite right. It's consistency over motivation and discipline, because you're never going to be 100% motivated. Your discipline's going to fall out your ass after a certain amount of time. Like I remember you do a marathon training going, I fucking hate this right now.
Yeah.
But consistency, I know it sounds a bit like discipline, going just fucking get up and doing it, no excuses. It's knowing that it has to be done regardless.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it?
Because if you have that, that's not discipline, it's not motivation, because they both completely wane. They do wane. Like, you're not always disciplined, you're not always motivated.
No.
But if you consistently do something, sooner or later it's going to become so normal that you don't think about it anymore. So if you are consistently drinking 2 litres of water a day, if you are consistently making sure you get at least 2 portions of vegetables in, if you are consistently, getting your 2,000 steps in, or 10,000 steps in, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's wrap up today.
Boom. Okay.
It's an hour. Solid hour. Goddamn.
Right, Vince, what is the one thing that you would say is most valuable about body image today?
To don't believe everything you see, because there's usually a lot more going on than you realise, and nobody's really honest about it.
Smashed it.
Will.
It.
What's your takeaway for falling in love with the gym again, in the first place?
I think you need to schedule. Make sure that you are scheduling things in. 100%, no bullshit. That's when you're going to train, and you will find that it creates incredible things for you.
Bam!
Bloom, blam,
The Unorthodox Trainer podcast pilot.
Thank you very much for listening to our first podcast.
There will be more. Any questions you have, get them into myself and Will. Please follow us on social media. So for me, it's VS Complete Fitness on Facebook or Instagram. I will put links in the description for YouTube. And
mine is on Instagram. You don't need my Facebook. My Facebook's not very good. Instagram is Mapley _ the run coach. So have a look. Some valuable things on there that might help you in terms of your running. If not, make sure that you are staying in contact with our podcast every single week. Look forward to hearing from you every single week. See you soon.
Nice.